Hey guys, I'm just... Okay, never mind, I think it's live now. Hold on 1 second, I just want to post this to the Facebook group. Where are we going? Just one more minute. Can't see the chat, FYI, in case anybody's posted anything yet. Okay, what am I doing? Facebook. Is the quality so horrible right now? Okay, I just posted up to the Facebook group. I'm going to give it a minute for a couple people to join. Okay, people are starting to join now. What am I doing? So I want to load something on my phone for a second, guys, that I wanted to post up to the live stream. Do you drink kombucha? Do you recommend it to others? Yes and no. So I'm not a huge fan of probiotics, especially the lactic, the more lactic heavy probiotic items. If you notice, a lot of people seem to report that they feel really crappy on a lot of different probiotics, and you know, they try and blame it down to their gut bacteria being disrupted or bad or off. But actually, sorry guys, people don't realize that, you know, when you have something like bacteria, right? You know, your gut is trillions and trillions of bacteria, and there's actually studies with people who overdo the lactic based bacteria. Actually, they'll get symptoms like digestive upset, whether it's constipation, bloating, brain fog. You can actually even get acidosis from too much the lactic bacteria. Sorry guys, I'm just doing something at the same time. Yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, so I'm not a huge fan of probiotics. I find more often than not probiotics actually make people feel worse with the side effects like I said above, and which you'll see in studies. I prefer prebiotics better. As you know, I always post this in my group with the prebiotic. So when you overdose something on, especially like commercially prepared, probiotic like drinks or foods or stuff like that, they'll use, whether they're using starter cultures and stuff like that, it doesn't have a wide variety of, it doesn't have a wide, varied diversity. And the issues with that, and that's when we see, you know, the lactic bacteria will overpopulate, people get brain fog and digestive upset and stuff like that. I'd much rather people focus on prebiotic foods. Prebiotic foods is what will feed all the bacteria in your stomach. It's what will help repopulate to higher levels of sorry guys, I thought the cat was in here. It's what will help repopulate your whole diversity of different bacteria. Yeah, prebiotics is what I always suggest. Utilizing probiotic based items. Yeah, I just find people get too many issues with. Sorry guys, my brain's all scattered right now when I'm trying to answer that while I'm trying to pull up something on my phone. You should have waited a minute before I started answering. Okay, I think yeah, this would okay. Okay, I got what I wanted. All right, let me answer a few more questions before I do what I was gonna do. Moderate dose test with finasteride, hair safe, no libido sides. Moderate dose. Hold on, guys. Psst, get out of here. Psst. 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 Sorry guys, the cat was in here. I didn't want him to keep meowing at the video. Bad timing. Okay, where was I? Moderate dose test with finasteride, hair safe, no libido sides. Is it hair safe? So that depends. Obviously, if you have the right dose of finasteride, it is going to make it more hair safe. The issue with hair loss, if you read my hair loss article on TN.com, you'll see I go over the actual cause and the main causes of hair loss and why we only see in the pattern specific effect that it causes. So with hair loss, as is shown in men, balding men actually don't have raised serum DHT levels or serum testosterone levels. What they actually have is raised local androgen levels in the scalp. And so this is all kind of multi-factorial how this is being hit. So in a balding male, they have hypoxia in the scalp, so less blood flow to the scalp. Less blood flow to the scalp, they have low oxygen levels, hypoxia. And what they observed in studies was that hypoxia causes increased 5-AR locally to where the hypoxia is happening, and it decreases aromatase enzyme. So what happens is we have low estrogen in the scalp and higher DHT levels in the scalp. And this is proven in studies, and this is proven due to the lack of circulation that's going on at the scalp. And this is why we see balding men, they have half the scalp fat, and this is why we see the specific pattern that men have, where it starts at the temples, it hits the crown, and then it goes at the sides a little bit here, and then the island is the last thing left. And the reason this is shown is because the tension pattern of the scalp. When they did studies, when they had, I can't remember if they used a skull or 3D printed skull, and they pulled on the scalp with this, they marked the tension all throughout the scalp, and they noticed it was in the male specific, the most tension was in the male pattern balding areas, right? The most tension was here, the most tension was at the scalp, and then the least tension was up at the island. So when this happens, that is what's cutting off your circulation, that tension pulling down on the scalp. And that is what will increase your DHT levels in the scalp, is the cut off circulation leading to hypoxia, less oxygen. And this is why balding men have increased local DHT, but they don't have increased serum DHT. And this is why finasteride only works so much and it doesn't continue to work. And a lot of people see almost no benefits from finasteride. So is it going to work with using test cycle? Yes, it's going to help a little bit, but the main issue going on is raise local DHT, which is at the scalp, and not so much the serum. And this is why hair at the sides and stuff, that they don't go away, because there's no hypoxia there. There's no, you have your, you take testosterone, you're going to make, the more testosterone you take, the more DHT you're going to make. But in normal areas where the blood flow is fine and the oxygen levels are fine, we're not having an increased level of 5-AR and then increased level of DHT to cause hair loss, period. And this is why we'll never lose hair on the sides, because there's never that tension that is on the top of the scalp. So yeah, to say, is it going to be safe? The more higher dose of finasteride you take will make the dose of test safe, yes. But yeah, you know, but I still don't suggest that. There's a whole host of issues with, you know, taking finasteride anyways. Sorry, that was kind of a long topic, guys. I'm kind of scatterbrained now. It's 1 a.m. I wasn't planning on doing it live, but I did. Something I seen the vid EA put out with you talking with Tony. Awesome. Yeah, that was one. I just did one a bit recently with him. I'm not sure if he put it out actually. Can you go more in depth about multivitamins? Saw your vid on it, but I'm curious what kind of vitamins slash nutrients that you should get, maybe top 5. So I always suggest everybody to go to chronometer.com and ensure they're getting a diet from their food that is getting a diet that they're eating that will ensure that they're getting all the vitamins and nutrients, so vitamins and minerals. It's not hard to do this. Many people think it's hard, but I've made, you know, just to prove a point, a meal of like 300 calories that got you every single one of your vitamins and minerals of your RDAs and or higher. So it's not hard to do this. I think, as I said in my video, you want to get everything you possibly can from whole foods. You don't want to take any supplements. You don't want to take any supplements if you don't have to. The only item I usually suggest to take as a supplement will be vitamin K2. So studies show us that when like eggs and meat used to have about double the amount of K2, and that was when they used to be grass-fed, as example for cows. Now that cows aren't grass-fed, they're grain-fed, their meat only contains half the levels of K2. So this is one of the few items I suggest supplementing, and you can get it from whole food, a whole food source anyway, so it's not synthetic. And you know the dangers of this. Low K2 is heart disease, one of the biggest things, especially with steroids. So as we know, steroids, they increase calcium uptake and they also increase your extracellular calcium levels. And when this happens, this is when heart disease begins, basically. As they showed in studies, men with high cholesterol, they were not at a higher risk of getting heart disease. It was only when men with high cholesterol had high calcium in the blood that they were at risk of heart disease. And you know, cholesterol isn't bad. It makes up every single cell in your body. When cholesterol is there in your arteries, it's there healing. You know, it causes inflammation. It is there to heal all your tissues. It is the men with the high blood calcium that the arteries end up being stiffening as the healing is going on. And high calcium gets there from when we're steroid users because it's increasing your calcium uptake. It also gets there because our diets, we're eating grain-fed meat, which is less K2 in our diets. We're getting it because they fortified calcium in all of our foods. You know, there's added calcium to certain milks. There's added calcium to orange juice. We're not getting enough magnesium, which magnesium is to help keep calcium soluble in your blood. So this lack of K2 in our diet, this lack of magnesium, and sometimes a lack of vitamin A. And on top of it, bodybuilders, is a big health fad today to take more vitamin D. So we're increasing our calcium intake more with vitamin D. We're increasing it with steroids, and we're just, you know, becoming a big cluster of aiding heart disease. So I kind of went off topic there. So guys, you know, I have so many issues with vitamins, synthetic vitamins causing cancer, throwing off other vitamins in your body. Chronometer.com, and ensure you're getting every single vitamin that you can from food. It is not hard. Pick your meats wisely. Pork has a lot more nutrients than chicken in a lot of areas. Get your vegetables and choose potato and stuff over white rice for your carbs, and it is not hard once you do that. So yeah, K2 is the only one I really suggest supplement. Vitamin and mineral wise, there is really no other. And steaming your meats. If you're not steaming a lot of your meats, 2/3 of the taurine in your diet is actually destroyed by cooking high temperatures. It is very important amino acid. I'm not sure if you've seen the studies on steroids, even it's so protective of your testicles and your liver, your brain, neuron cells. It is so protective of your body. And our typical diet today, all of our meat, we cook it at high temperatures, and it destroys your taurine in your diet. So taurine is one supplement as well that I sometimes suggest to supplement if you're not eating a good portion of your meats lightly cooked, such as steaming. Hope I answered that in depth enough. I could have went on, and some of my questions I could just go on and on and on about. You know, 'cause I like to give you know, I like to give people a little more in-depth, like as why, in case you haven't seen the video, why I don't like vitamins and minerals. So I think I kind of went good enough in depth in there. Let me know. Do you blast and cruise anymore, or completely off everything? Okay, is that the next one? Yeah, it was. So this was what I'm going to start the video off with, but I kind of started answering the question. So I hadn't really cycled in a very long time. My last proper cycle was probably going on 2 or 3, I can't even remember. Yeah, 2 or 3 years now, my last proper cycle. And I've been off everything since. And then I just started a cycle again about 6-ish weeks ago, I think it was now. And I was live streaming the workouts, and weight was going up, everything was going good. And then I got sick, if some of you guys remember, and I posted this. My tonsils started swelling up, and it's just feeling like complete trash. Obviously, it was bacterial. My tonsils started swelling up, and I got on antibiotics. My heart was fluttering like crazy. I was thinking, okay, it's just the bacteria. It's nothing serious. Took the antibiotics, and my appetite was shot, and I was a little fatigued, but I was feeling better. And I finished the antibiotics, and I was kind of continuing on with the cycle. And then when the antibiotics finished, and this is when you guys noticed I stopped doing my videos for my cycle. My antibiotics finished. And a couple days after they finished, my tonsils swollen up again, and my heart started fluttering like crazy. It actually started fluttering at the same amount. My heart rate went up to 150, and it stayed there for about 2 days straight. And my heart, it was going all over the place with fluttering. So I went to the hospital, and when I went there, they're like, they basically said, your heart just, you have AFib, your heart just went AWOL, you're screwed. They give me beta blockers, IV and stuff like that, and they gave me blood thinners and some beta blockers to go cash out. And they're saying my heart's screwed. They're saying your heart's screwed. Take these. We're booking you a cardiologist appointment, and you're gonna, after you've been on blood thinners a bit, so you're not at high risk for clotting, we're gonna have to do a cardio revision, which is they restart your heart, and you're just gonna have to keep doing that to get your heart back into AFib. And I try to tell them, like, look, I don't think my heart just went AWOL. I think this is bacterial related, because I had an infection and my heart started going like crazy. And when I took the antibiotics, it went away. And as soon as I stopped the antibiotics, my tonsils swollen up again, and my heart started going like crazy again. And I tried showing them studies, like, look, this can be common, and especially in tonsils issues, and it's high risk in males and stuff like that. Like, I think it is this. And they're like, no, go home, take beta blockers, blood thinners, and wait for the cardiologist appointment. If you don't take this, you're high risk clot, because AFib, every time your heart is irregular, it's, increased risk of clotting. So it's high risk stroke and stuff like that. Anyways, I went home. I started some old antibiotics that I have, and I took some magnesium to get my heart rate back in check, and which it did. In the hospital they did beta blockers, only went to 90. Went home, it started to creep up to 120 again. I just took magnesium, and it worked better. Magnesium and vitamin E is very important for AFib. Anyways, vitamin E, some magnesium, and a few days on the antibiotics. My heart started to feel better. I ended up going back in there, and my heart was in the clear. So literally, yeah, so I stopped the cycle before that when my heart started going like crazy. So that's what happened to my cycle, guys. I went to the doctors. They said my heart is screwed, and that I had to be on beta blockers and blood thinners, and they weren't going to investigate what I was trying to say. I believe it was an infection. Went home, took antibiotics, and I cleared it on my own. I went back for another ECG, and my heart, the first one I went back to, because I thought I was on to something. First one I went back to, I was still in AFib, but my heart rate and stuff was fine. But when I went back for my third one, everything was in the clear. And it was a pretty serious situation, because it had me a little bit worried too, that my heart just went, kaboom out of nowhere. And, if I hadn't did what I did, I would have, stayed on blood thinners, stayed on beta blockers, and let it control my heart and think, okay, these drugs are controlling my heart, I'm gonna have to stay on this forever. But obviously, I'm don't want to say smarter, but a little more knowledgeable. I'm glad I connected those pieces together and what I thought it was, and yeah, basically in the clear there. Here's how crazy it was. I'll pull up the record here. Hold on. This is what I wanted to bring up on my phone. Let's see if you guys can see. Where is that? Just watch it. I think my heart rate was only at 130. We didn't get it when it was at 150. So I'm not sure if you guys can see that. What's going on with my camera? Sorry, my screen's a little bit late. It's funny though, the EKG was rating it as that I had a stroke, heart attack, prior heart attack and stuff. But obviously when the machine reads, sorry guys, I'm really stupid with holding this up in front of the camera. Obviously when the ECG reads it, it's what it's interpreting, not what the doctor is interpreting. But it was just funny, you know, it was kind of a freak out for me. But yeah, so yeah, I started the cycle, got 3 weeks into it, and then I had to call it quits because my heart went funky due to a tonsil infection. So yeah, so that's the answer to my blasting cruise. I hope to get back on a cycle and actually redo this cycle again. We will see. Okay, so that was another long one. Sorry guys, I'm getting some long questions to answer here. Also, Derek from More Place More Dates mentioned you in his latest video. Glad he did. Awesome. Yeah, I seen that. Somebody linked that to me. I think Derek is a good guy. Did you hear about gastrus? Apparently the strains originated and were isolated first from Venezuela. What are the top prebiotic food you recommend? The best way I recommend this is variety. I always say this: variety with any foods and stuff like that that you eat. Not just for prebiotic content, but to ensure you're getting all your nutrients and a lot of the, like, you know, different, whether it's like fennel or, you know, these different chemicals that are in food. Some of them we don't even know are, or know what they do. That is some that are undiscovered, and we just keep discovering. Variety is always key in your diet. Kiwi, and a lot of them will have a lot of different benefits with it as well. It's like pineapple and kiwi have protease enzymes, right? And there's studies on mega dosing high doses of protease and you getting double the amino acid uptake from your food. So variety is always key. Kiwi is one of my favorites. I really like kiwi, cabbage. Those are my top 2 favorites. Pineapple, again, we don't know which ones kind of have like the best effects or whatnot, but pineapple is another one I like for the protease enzyme, but also has some benefits from prebiotics as well. Variety is key. Eat as much variety as you can, no matter what it is. That is the biggest key to health. Kind of the same thing, but name powders you can use in lieu of meat for the replacement shake. Is the article current or is it not? And a few ingredients like buckwheat flakes need to be added. So you're talking about my weight gain shake. So powders in lieu of meat, I mean, you can't really use any. All the carnivore powders on the market is just gelatin. And the way you do this is you ask for an amino acid analyst or check on the back for yourself if they have it updated. And gelatin will be 24% glycine by weight, so you know that is when a product is just gelatin, it's not actually muscle meat. Gelatin is great, and I suggest gelatin. It's great food. You know, it has sleep benefits, anti-anxiety and stuff like that benefits, but taken on its own, it will not cause it will not aid muscle growth because it's lacking the adequate amount of the main amino acids for muscle growth, like cysteine and the BCAAs. So gelatin is only good in addition to the current protein you're eating. It is not good by itself. So there is no powders that are made from muscle meat that I've ever seen. Every single one I've looked up is made of gelatin. So the only one I suggest is pea protein. That is going to have the amino acids that you need. And so yeah, the weight gain shake is still up to date. An example would be pea protein for your protein, then adding some potato flour, not starch. Potato starch doesn't have the nutrients, it is just a starch from it. Potato flour is the whole potato, so you're getting all the nutrients. Coffee, grind up some seeds for so many minerals, for polyunsaturated fats, which if you read my polyunsaturated fats article, that is, you know, when they gave people 700 calories extra a day of polyunsaturated fats, it went almost towards all muscle, versus saturated fats that went almost towards all fat gain. So lots of seeds, coffee, grind them up, put it in the shake, bam, there you go. So yeah, that is still, and for carbs, you don't have to use potato flour. Yes, you can use the buckwheat and different flours like that. What else? A person with 2,500 calories who eats shitty and a person who eats clean and good, but both have the same weight and body composition. What's the difference? Please help me to understand this. So that is too vague of a question, because you don't know exactly what that person is eating when they say shitty. Example, a person I knew had an amazing physique, great size, lean and stuff like that. A normal person, if they saw them, be like, oh, he eats shitty. When reality is, yes, he ate junk food shitty, but he ate an immense amount of nutrients in the foods that help body comp. Like example, how I just mentioned on polyunsaturated fatty acids. He ate, example, a lot of potato chips because they're quick and convenient. What are potato chips? They're cooked potatoes with added polyunsaturated fatty acids for the oils. So we got polyunsaturated fatty acids which go entirely towards muscle growth almost. Potatoes are so rich in potassium, which help insulin release. It's needed to store glycogen. Just like you need a specific amount of water with carbs to store your carbs as glycogen, you need a very specific amount of potassium. Low potassium leads to low testosterone. Potassium helps HGH to IGF-1 conversion. So this person on the outside, to somebody who may be not as knowledgeable in nutrition, would see, okay, this person eats crappy because he eats potato chips. Yes, it's unhealthy because it's, high heated polyunsaturated fatty acids and stuff like that. But is it going to impair his muscle growth? No, he could be getting 10 times better muscle growth because he's eating potato chips, a bag of potato chips, versus somebody eating healthy and eating white rice. So when you say somebody eating good and somebody's eating unhealthy, that is, the person eating healthy could be eating 10 times less nutrients to aid muscle growth, just because it's white rice, it's clean, versus the person eating junk food could be eating immensely more better nutrients going towards muscle growth. So yeah, you would have to show me a diet where it's showing me every single thing the person eating crappy and then every single thing the person eating healthy is eating, for me to go, okay, look, like this is why the person eating crappy is seeing immense more results. So it's too vague of a question to really see. If you take orals pre-workout sublingually a few times a week versus every day, does it make it delay the buildup of myostatin? Tricky question, because are you asking it in the sense of that's all they're taking? One, we don't know. There's no science on it. My guess is it wouldn't have any effect at all. Your body's still seeing it raise every other day. I would assume it would not do that, but there's no science on it. Can you ride out gains beyond the 6 to 8 weeks that are shown in studies if you take orals in the way on top of a constant dose of base injectables? No studies on it. Nobody can answer you that and be like, yes, absolutely, this is what happens. What we do know is that it spikes up even when it is orals. So it's not just myostatin, it's an androgen receptor downregulation is what's hugely going on. Your androgen receptors will downregulate. The only possible way, and this is no proven studies on this, is to constantly up your dose, not just taking orals every day, but to constantly up your dose every 4 to 6 weeks. It's not proven to, we can only go by real world experience, and what I use in my athletes, followers, clients, and so on, is upping the dose every 4 to 6 weeks. We see a marginally increase in gains to keep them going past 6 to 8 weeks, but is nowhere near as if you fully came off. Does D-bol make you retain a lot of water or help you cut while recomping? So Deca and Diva are the only 2 safe hair steroids that I suggest to people. So when somebody has hair loss and they want to avoid it at all costs, D-bol is an item, one of my favorite items to use. D-bol specifically is a lot better than Deca when it comes to these hair safe issues in the sense of fat loss, strength, and muscle growth. So absolutely, D-bol can help you can help you cut. I love D-bol for cutting for people who are hair loss prone. A lot of people use Test with D-bol today, and Test gives horrible water weight, and when they add D-bol, they get worse water weight. When D-bol is used on its own, the water is mostly in the muscle, is what I would say. And a lot of semis pros actually when they did pre-contest, they used D-bol right up to show day. Mike Mentzer did this, his own quotes, and one of his best shows that he ever looked was when he was using D-bol pre-contest. So absolutely, it can make you look great. It's going to hold a little bit of water, but most of it is just like it is a full look. So absolutely you can, and it is a great drug too. I got printed B vitamins and I'm pretty sure it's causing me stomach issues. Is this common when taking B vitamins? I'm going to quit, but I'm wondering if this is common. When people take B vitamins on their own, synthetic ones in high doses, certain ones can lower cortisol, it can slow down your digestion, and so on and so on. I would not blame that due to the natural amount and the natural doses from whole food sources. I would more blame it, put it down to the powders that you are getting, the specific powders that it uses. Example, so different fruits and different fruits and vegetables can cause people a lot of digestive upset, right? Whole food sources of these will use fruits and vegetables, or things like peels of the fruits, like orange peeling and stuff like that. I would blame it more down due to that. Example, spirulina is a huge one I find that gives people a digestive upset, and a lot of these B vitamins will use things like spirulina and just different fruits and vegetable powders, and I would blame it more down to that causing it. Do you subscribe to the theory that a lot of the stuff we have issues digesting now are things our ancestors ate without issues? Yes and no. Mainly yes. Like, that is a loaded question. I would talk for hours on that. So example, there's things like our high fructose, different sweeteners, whether it's like stevia or sucralose, or there's a whole bunch of different ones. That's a common thing most everybody gets in their diet. There's studies on this showing that when we consume these sweeteners and then we actually go to consume something like a normal carb, like a fruit, it actually it gives our body a toxic reaction to it. The bad bacteria will feast on it more. It'll help kill off the good bacteria and stuff like this. So all these little things that we're doing in our diet that we normally didn't do before, such as eating, we're eating just muscle meat and we're not getting enough animal fats. We're not getting the collagen with the glycine, which can help heal the stomach and stuff like that. We're doing a lot of different things in our diet that is inappropriate, that is causing food like sweeteners or just things like that, or high fructose corn syrup. We're doing so many different things like high fructose corn syrup can cause fatty liver disease, and it affects the liver, slows down the liver phase detoxes. We're doing 1,000,001 different things that is disrupting our body in the way we would normally process food and handle food, and just whether our gut lining and all sorts of things like that. So yes, because we are destroying our body, adding things that are giving us a non-normal reaction that we normally wouldn't have, like to fruit as an example. So yeah, we are not doing things the way we normally would at all, causing a whole bunch of different issues that are leading to issues on foods that we normally wouldn't. Absolutely. Okay, what did I miss? Matthew, Diva itself doesn't make you hold more water. It's estrogen conversion, and also water retention doesn't affect that cut. Water isn't fat. How can I kill my libido with minimal side effects of health? That's tricky. I mean, that is a tricky question. I don't know how to answer that one. That's so tricky because are you on hormones right now? Are you not on hormones? If you're on hormones, we can use some hormones to kill it. If you're not on hormones, that's very do you want to use hormones to kill it? That one I would need more background on to answer, essentially, and what would be the best way to do it. Yeah, that one would be a little more tricky on what way to do it. If you're on hormones or want to use hormones, you could take some of the anabolics that help kill your libido, or high risk of doing it. So yeah, it depends on what way you want to go. What is the least dose of Diva to prevent muscle loss when cutting on DMP? Nobody can answer that. I can't answer that and say, oh, this will for sure will do it. But it depends on why you want to take lowest doses. Why not use a little bit more, which will aid in fat loss and help you in all areas a little bit more. But I would say 15 milligrams is the replacement dose in studies when you're running a Diva as a HRT. So 15 milligrams, but more would be a little bit better. Ashwagandha makes me feel better in every way, but a lot of people report really negative effects. Is this just based on differences among our bodies naturally, or does it have to do with the source? The source does have different effects, absolutely. Different ashwagandhas, I think KSM66 uses one component or two. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Different sources are different effects, but also it in and of itself can do, it really revs up your thyroid. The thyroid alone being revved up can cause insomnia in some people and so on. So it goes both ways. So I've been doing subacute injections in my glute with NPP and it gets quite sore. Do you have any tips to make it not so sore? Only doing 30 milligrams each side every day with half-inch insulin needle. 30. So one, ensure you're using very little volume. Usually 0.3 of a milliliter is something I've always prescribed to. with sub-Q. But usually when this happens, I would say it's a lot more to do with how the item is made. Like too high benzobentonate can usually cause lumps and soreness in people. If the hormone the concentration is too high, milligrams per milliliter, that can also crash and cause these issues. I would say something is going on with how the product is made, causing this issue. You might have to cut it with another oil, a steroid oil might be best. The thing with sub-Q too, here's the thing. It goes a lot faster too. A lot of people did blood works on this because, you know, there's not many studies on this where they compared IM versus sub-Q, and every single person on the sub-Q, their testosterone levels kept coming back half of what it would be IM. And the only way they could pinpoint this down to was that sub-Q actually absorbed much faster. Somebody got a blood test, I think it was like 4 or 8 hours after they did the sub-Q, and that was when their testosterone levels went through the roof. And every single person that did it a day later, 2 days later, or so on, they were coming back bottomed out testosterone. So bear that in mind when you're doing sub-Q. It appears, again, we don't really have the studies on it, that it absorbs insanely faster, insanely. Could there be any side effects to taking K2 long term? Taking a natural food source, you're going to have less issues, as we see studies in synthetic vitamins cause weird reactions in the body. Like synthetic vitamin A at very low doses causes vitamin A toxicity, yet there's cultures eating, hundreds of thousands of IUs without toxicity. So being a whole food source, we're going to lessen it severely. We might not get the issues that we do from synthetics. But if your other vitamins are out of, not in sync, then absolutely yes. This is why I don't like supplementing single form vitamins. Example, K2 will increase your clotting, and with steroids you have increased risk of clotting as well. So if you're not balancing it with adequate vitamin E, which will balance the clotting effects of vitamin K, yeah, there could be dangers like that. Also, every vitamin, they can, some at certain doses will help increase absorption of this vitamin or mineral, and then they also have ones that they compete with. So example, vitamin K actually depletes vitamin E, and vitamin E actually depletes vitamin K. So that is another thing you want to ensure you're getting adequate levels of its counterparts, if you want to call it that. So yeah, hey, just subscribed after watching Derek's video, thank you. What's this? Deca, Diva when you're high body fat. All steroids have been proven to decrease body fat. You being lean and doing, if you're doing a cycle, you're doing a cycle because you made a decision that, hey, I want to use steroids, I want to improve my body comp, grow muscle, lose fat. So why not? That's what I always say. It's very low water retention. Diva is a much better fat loss drug than Deca. There's truly no reason not to. If you made up in your mind, I want to look better, I want to feel better about myself, this is what I want to do, it's my passion, it's my hobby, I don't care, this is what you've decided to do, why not? If you cut without steroids, you're higher risk of muscle loss, it's going to be slower, and you could gain some muscle while you do it. So why not is what I say. If this is the decision that you've made, why not? Absolutely. I don't feel any mind-muscle connection on left side of my body, and due to which I have a very big muscle imbalance. What should I do to overcome that imbalance? Tricky. You're saying you don't feel it. One, I would focus a little more, ensuring that every inch of each rep that you are squeezing it all the way up and all the way down and trying to build that mind-muscle connection. Maybe it's that, or maybe you have nerve damage to do, I don't know what reason. I don't, know your prior health issues or anything, but maybe you have some form of nerve damage from something that happened. I don't know. Either that's happened, or just focus on the mind muscle connection more. Again, squeeze every inch of every rep all the way up and all the way down. As it's proven, when you focus on mind muscle connection, it is double the growth. So always do that regardless. I've been doing cardio almost daily at night time before bed, trying to lose fat. Do you think too much cardio can crash my metabolism? Tricky question. Depend on your what am I saying? It depends on your energy intake. But even then, go to my website tan.com and read under articles. You'll see a couple of dieting articles. I go over some articles. Example, phosphorus. When people were low in phosphorus, their thyroid hormone shut down, and when they ate more phosphorus, it prevented the thyroid shutdown from dieting. So ensuring you have adequate micronutrient content with your low calories, this is what will help prevent thyroid and metabolism shutdown. On top of it, the added phosphorus is shown in diets when protein, carbs, and fats and calories were all equated. The added phosphorus actually showed more muscle growth as well. So ensure your micronutrient content is of utmost importance. Watch my If It Fits Your Macros video actually, and there's an article on my site with it. And this explains all the different, why If It Fits Your Macros. Never base your food choices off macros, base it off your micros, the highest micro content of the food choices you're making. You know, white rice versus potato. White rice, like no nutrients, potato is jam-packed full of so many nutrients that will help your body comp, prevent metabolism shutdown, and so on. What does that one say? How long do you recommend an oral cycle for a beginner with good training foundation, and how long should I cycle off? Cycling off depends on what you want to do. If you, on TN.com, I have my short versus long cycle androgen receptor downregulation article, if you haven't read that. So depends on what you want to do. There's also, I have a video how to prevent shutdown. If you're a beginner and don't want to shut down at all, I posted studies and things I've used on my athletes where if you run Clomid before, during, and after the cycle, your body doesn't shut down at all. Your LH doesn't shut down, and nothing shuts down, and you can fully prevent shutdown and not have to worry about any possible worries or scares that people have that steroids can permanently shut you down. That may be something you want to consider. There's also usually what I use for most athletes that know they're going to be on for a very long time, where they do their short cycle, come off for a short period, go back on, and rinse and repeat over and over again until they're at the point where they want to be, where they've been on too long and they want to do a proper PCT. Your time off depends on your Easter. For short Easters, like something like orals, 3 to 4 weeks. For long Easters, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the Easter. Oral only cycle, again, if it's Diva, just 3 to 4 weeks is all you need off. How do you recommend an oral cycle for a beginner? What else? So no matter what, you need some estrogen with the cycle. D-ball being one of the very few orals that will provide you with estrogen. D-ball is the base, whether you want to use it as a base at minimum 50 milligrams a day or have it as a majority of your cycle. That's what I would do. And I would do it for 4 to 6 weeks. Within 4 weeks, you'll see all my athletes and people say, just like the studies show, you're getting like 90% of your gains of the first 4 weeks. I say go to 6 weeks just to test it yourself and be like, okay, at 4th weeks, I've gained 18 pounds. And by week 4 to week 6, I gain an extra 2 pounds. And then you're going to be like, okay, it's not worth it to go to 6 weeks. So do it for yourself and experiment that on yourself to see what happens. That is my suggestion, truly, just so you, oops, what did I do? I think I answered that. Can you use L-carnitine around 3,000 or 4,000 milligrams for androgen receptor upregulation and for fat loss? Thanks. Yeah, if you see my, go to tn.com, read my short cycle versus long cycle androgen receptor downregulation, something that, you know, if you see, it's something I've been preaching for years. I list all the items that upregulate your androgen receptors. Carnitine is one of my favorite items to use. As a study showed, versus testosterone at 100 milligrams a day, it boosted the libido more. And as we know, you know, I've been preaching this for years. Go check out the article, it's very in-depth and good, where I've been preaching, you know, androgen receptor content is what matters the most. As studies show with steroids, all the benefits are just from jacking up the androgen receptors. And after 6 weeks, when it goes back down, you're only getting an anti-catabolic effect anymore. Carnitine raises about 18%. It is amazing. I've had so many guys use it, like Chris Dufferin, elite powerlifter, where his weight shot up 7 pounds out of nowhere, where he didn't change anything in his diet or anything like that, just from adding that. You know, I have so many guys feel like they're on a major cycle just from adding that. I actually like 4 to 6 grams of it, but yeah, absolutely. I still did, okay, where, I think I missed one or two, I don't know, where are we? Hello, Tiana, I have hair loss. Following an Accutane course, yeah, Accutane will, you know, it's horrible for it. Reduces your sebum production in your scalp. Of course, 2 years ago, I don't have much family history of losing hair, and my hair loss seems to be diffuse, so that's good. My hormone panels show low DHT test, so it's caused by the Accutane. As you know, that's what happened. go stop the Accutane, go on a very low vitamin A diet, almost like none. It's a fat soluble vitamin. It's going to be stored in your body for many months. You need to go on a very low fat vitamin A diet, and I would jack up your vitamin D to help deplete your vitamin A quicker. That's what I would do, and then I go to Tian.com, read my hair loss article, and I would implement a few things from there just to kind of protect it and stop the inflammation and get some of the fat production, sebum production going in there, like emu oil and stuff like that. But the first thing would be your main thing that you want to definitely do. Where am I going? Crap, what did I do? No, not that one. Do you think 50 milligrams a week of testosterone Supinate is a good starting point for TRT? 50 milligrams a week? Well, as we know, the studies show the times 9 to times 10 rule. It's going to put you at about 500 ng at the beginning of your shot. I think that's a bit low. If I was going to do it, I'd probably do 100. You know, I'd want myself to be up there, but I would take my own precautions with it. First of all, I wouldn't use TRT. No matter what cost, I would try and recover my natural hormone production with, you know, a proper PCT and stuff like that. And I've recovered people who did multiple failed PCTs with diet alone, basically, where they thought, you know, they were fully shut down, PCT wasn't working. I recovered them with diet, so I would not go TRT route. You're shutting down dozens of various hormones, and people have a honeymoon period where they feel great and then they feel like complete crap and on a cocktail of a whole bunch of other drugs, trying to make TRT make them feel better. Yeah, I would do 100 milligrams TRT, but I would take some natural anti-DHT items like some pumpkin seeds and some evening primrose oil, and I would take some natural anti-estrogens. I have a anti-estrogen video on my channel. Like getting adequate vitamin A, getting adequate vitamin E is a strong anti-estrogen, and if that's all I needed, then that's what I would do. Yeah, how and would low test cause hair loss in a diffuse manner? I would think the opposite, to be honest. For reference, my T. So where was I going? I think you're the Accutane person. I would not worry about that. I would blame the Accutane. Will low tests cause it? No, just for the sense that we know that castrated males and males that take androgen blockers and so on, they actually, you know, they recover their hair. They don't see hair loss. You need like bottomed out T, basically. I had low T by 29, took Accutane for 24 months, combined over 2 runs as a teen and in mid-20s. Can't prove it definitely caused it, but studies seem to, yeah, absolutely, Accutane does absolutely cause it. You know, whether studies supporting it, we know all the mechanisms that it will work to actually cause hair loss. Damn, didn't realize that could happen. Explain a few things. I've seen you recommend taking a single large dose of vitamin D, 300K I used for vitamin D deficient before. Is that something you still recommend, assuming magnesium, calcium, etc. is on point? I wouldn't say I've ever recommended that. I've said it. That is what has been done in studies. They've actually taken 600K plus vitamin D for seasonal winter depression, and to keep the levels up, you know, to see if it would keep it up before that. Is that something I'd recommend you do in one dose? No, I'd prefer splitting it up into weekly doses myself, and I'd, you know, make sure you have adequate of the other fat soluble vitamins as you do it. Well, think about it. A lot of acne is hormone related. How your subglands react to hormones. Thank you, Tian. That's no problem, friends. I'm not sure how vitamin D. I'm not sure how much vitamin D I should take, but I'm guessing I should go nuclear to deplete vitamin A. I'm not going to tell you to do something, you know, just for like liability reasons. If it was myself, and I was taking a normal Accutane dose, I'd go very low vitamin A. If it was myself and I didn't want to go get a vitamin D blood test, and knowing myself, I don't get much sun and it's winter here. So on myself personally, if, you know, this was you, and again, I'm suggesting this to you, if it was me and I don't get that much sun and I had a big dose of vitamin A, I would probably do something like 50K vitamin D a week, but that would only put you at 200 for the month. I would probably start there. 50K vitamin D for about 2 months. That's assuming I don't get a lot of sun. That is probably something I would do. Maybe I'd even go for the first 2 weeks like 100K. That's what I would do, just based off, you know, myself. Do you think Brewer's Juice is a whole food source and is a good B vitamins. No, I don't. If you check any of the beers, use what they'll do is they will add synthetic. They do this to a lot of supplements and they claim it's whole food too. They add synthetic B vitamins and they let the yeast eat it, and because the yeast has eaten and consumed it, and yeast is a whole food, it is not a whole food vitamin source, but it's actually synthetic. It's a funny thing that they do. What's your favorite hat, beanie for hiding all the hair protocol stuff when you have to go out, or just use the EME oil to go Super Saiyan? Yeah. My favorite hat, I like to wear my hats backwards. You see me maybe wearing them in my videos. I like the trucker style hats, you know, with the mesh. I like to wear them backwards like this. My favorite hat brand, I usually just like the logos of them, of the RVCA hats. These are my favorite hats. Wearing the backwards, all my hats are always this brand. Yeah. But I don't like doing that, and I think that's too much of a hassle for people to do. So when I do the hair loss protocol, I suggest people, they don't make it a chore. So example, they apply it before bed, and then apply it throughout the day. Whenever you're at home and doing nothing, let's say I'm home, I'm gonna do some work on the computer, apply it, leave it in for a bit. Or every single time that I am, let's say, going to take a shower, I would tell people, you wet your hair in the sink a little bit, and then apply your oils. You know, give it a good massage, get it in there, shave, go to the washroom. I don't know, do whatever you might want to do for 10 to 15 minutes. Because you having it in and massaging it in good, the oils for 10 to 15 minutes is going to benefit you immensely from not doing it. And even let's say you're not going to shower, but you want to get the oils in the morning, you know, wet your hair, apply it in, and then give your head a quick wash in the sink before you go to work or do whatever. That is still better than nothing. And as for hair, because I don't like harsh shampoos and stuff like that, the Soap Works is the company, and they have bars of soap from emu oil. It's so much better and healthy for your hair and for your skin as well. Emu oil is one of the very few proven items to increase skin and hair DNA synthesis by 20%. So if you're gonna, you have to wash your body, might as well use something that benefits you. I suggest using this for your hair, and you need to give your hair a quick wash to get the oils out. You know, wet your hair in the sink, rub the soap, and I use this for my hair in the shower too. Rub it on your hands, give it a quick wash, and just rinse it out with water, and bang, you wash the oils out of your hair quickly and efficiently. So that's what I suggest. Don't make it a chore. How can you raise below normal SHBG? Thanks a lot. I've dealt with this problem a lot in people. Most times what I see it is a fat issue, or you're running harsh androgens, or even TRT alone can do it and whatnot. But increase your fats, olive oil, monofat specifically. Olive oil was shown to increase it by, I don't even remember, but olive oil, 3 tablespoons a day is one of my go-to suggestions for SHBG. Awesome, thanks again, no problem, friends. Dries out your skin and eyes, absolutely. Vitamin A. Would the head straps from a CPAP when laying on your side accelerate hair loss of thinning? I don't know how tight they are, but absolutely, if they're tight enough to be cutting off circulation and pulling down, absolutely. But I don't know how tight they are. Where are we? I don't know how far I'm down on this. Whey protein versus pea protein. Pea protein, absolutely. Every single person who denied that digestive upset with whey protein, I told them to use pea protein. They get on pea protein, like, holy shit, you're right, man. My digestion is so much better. Whey protein proven in studies, and every single person was proven to slow your transit time in your intestines. I don't like dairy for it's one of the biggest links to prostate cancer and stuff in men. Don't like dairy at all. Slow down your digestion. Pea protein 100%, and actually helps speed up your digestion. So people on a bulk, needing a speeding up digestion, absolutely. Thanks for answering that. Love you, G. No problem. I'm assuming that was the hair, the hat person question. Ditto on the TMAO from carnitine, also allows some products to combat. Hard to say if there's no studies on it. Absolutely can use it. Fresh crushed garlic would be your better bet, however. Why would SHBG be elevated naturally? Can anything be done to bring it down? Asking to my buddy. Absolutely. Estrogen could be the reason. You know, maybe he's a testosterone user and he's prone to estrogen conversion. The estrogen could be jacking it up. Multiple things can be done to bring it down. You say naturally? Oh, naturally. Maybe he has high estrogen naturally, and it's jacking it up. Taking things to lower estrogen naturally. Vitamin A, vitamin E, calcium D-glucarate, you know, more cruciferous vegetables, or you could use an AI. That could be one of the reasons, and those are the things that could help. People will talk about these things like hair loss and A's use in isolation, like on paper, but actually applying this shit in the real world scenario is one thing that makes Campbell the best. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's why I did my hair loss video. I'm not sure if you're talking about A's use in isolation. All the studies are on the prostate gland and in rats. Animals are so different. I don't want to get into that topic on animals versus humans. They have different enzymes that will create different estrogens and stuff like that, and different enzymes in the body, like sheep or cattle, you know, right? They have the one enzyme in the brain for that creates methyl ester. I don't even remember. So they're so different. We don't know that it's having different reaction in the prostate to rats. That we wouldn't, and your prostate is not your scalp tissue either. So when you see on paper, oh, like Winstrol and Anavar, you know, they cause, we know in the real world, we know they cause hair loss. Yet on paper, they're very mildly androgenic. And it's the complete opposite. All the weak androgenic ones on the prostate in rats cause the worst hair loss. So it's, yeah. I like to always state what science and how the science applies to us, if it does at all. And then I like to use my anecdotal experience as well to, that's the only way, you know. How did your 6-week transformation go? Sorry guys, I'm trying to talk fast, keep up with the questions. I'm going to brief this one. I mentioned it early in the video. So 3 weeks into it, my tonsil swelled up. You might have seen that video. It was my last videos. My heart started going crazy. Went on antibiotics. Everything was fine. Well, you know, my appetite was low from the antibiotics. I tried to truck on. Stopped my antibiotics. My tonsils came back and the infection appeared to go to my heart. So I went to the hospital. My heart was going crazy, 150. Went to the hospital. They said my heart is fucked. I have AFib, high risk of clot and stroke. I have to be on beta blockers and blood thinners forever and have my heart restarted. And I was like, no, I think this is due to a bacterial infection. I have all the symptoms of it. This happens in studies. I know how this goes. I think it is bacterial. They're like, no, your heart is fucked, blah, blah, blah. I go home, restart my antibiotics, take some mag and vitamin E to control the AFib. I go back within a few days and my heart is completely fine. You know, the AFib's gone, the SL elevation is gone, the heart rate, everything is completely normal. So I would have had to stay on beta blockers and blood thinners for life if I didn't know any better and think my heart is fucked and all this other bullshit. But yeah, so infection went to my heart and it screwed the cycle. I showed the ECG test on my phone if you go back earlier. So yeah, I screwed my cycle. I'm gonna restart it soon. I've been like 4 weeks off already now too, I think, since I stopped like at week 3. So yeah, that's how it went. Would you recommend taking finasteride with steroid cycles that do not involve Deca durabolin? Well, I mean, it's not going to help on the items that aren't converting into a stronger androgen, right? So it depends. If I had hair loss and worried about hair loss, I would only take my own advice where I, you know, don't use any. Dude, my following is hugely hair loss, hair loss sufferers, right? And my people that hair loss sufferers that have my huge experience of like 10 years of this, of mostly being hair loss sufferers, Deca and Diva are the only hair safe items. Finasteride is going to help control testosterone hair loss, but it's not going to help control any of the DHT's hair loss. So I would not chance that. Like if you're suffering hair loss, you're stuck with, yeah, you're stuck with Deca and Diva, unless, you know, your hair loss isn't that bad. You want to use Test, and finasteride will help. Yes, it will help control it, but like, you know, all the other items, it's not going to help with. When you recommend emu and rosemary oils, what are the doses? I don't recommend rosemary anymore, just peppermint. Rosemary oil seems to cause a shed like minoxidil, and it deters people away from sticking to it. So peppermint. Wet your hair and the sink before whatever you're doing so you can apply easier. Doses is the more the better. So apply as much emu oil as you want, really get it in there. The more the better, basically. Yeah. Talking about the hats and the practical applications of this stuff is key, absolutely. Hey Campbell, thanks for your Deca 6 weeks on and 5 weeks off. Helped me save a lot of time and drugs and also money in India. Drugs are not cheap. Yeah, it was funny. Somebody actually posted in my Facebook group recently where they're like, oh, I didn't want to believe you, but you know, I came off and then I started my cycle, and then by the 4th weeks I gained 18 pounds and I had to fight tooth and nail for the extra 2-pound gains by week 6. So he gained 18 pounds in 4 weeks and he had to bust his ass off to gain 2 pounds in the last 2 weeks. So yeah, it definitely is hugely beneficial. Deca lingers for 20 weeks. Yeah, it does. In metabolite, very minuscule, it's metabolite doses. It's not having any effect on you though. Or yeah, when you're eating clean and hair starts shedding, is it because you're lacking the fortified vitamins? And would you get it in cereals and bread, which are mostly Diva? Absolutely could be that. That's the thing. People go to eat clean and let's say they're eating white rice and they go, I'm eating clean, but it's like, no, you're lost so many nutrients from something. Maybe you're eating Wendy's and you're eating fries, which is, you know, potatoes and stuff like that. So absolutely, that absolutely could be it. This is why I'd like people to make a difference in clean eating and what is actually healthy eating. There's a big difference there. What do you think about testosterone? I never researched it, so that's just my honest answer. Did you crash after you stopped the cycle? Yes and no. I'm actually maintaining 220. I don't even know, 225 or something like that. So when I had to stop the cycle, I only got 3 weeks into it, basically. I stopped working out fully, and the antibiotics destroyed my appetite. I was eating 1 meal a day. My heart went crazy. I was eating 1 meal a day. So I've been eating like 1 meal a day. It's been horrible. And I actually did one workout 2 days ago, so I'm just getting back into it. But I've been maintaining like 225 or something like that. So for eating 1 meal a day and 0 workouts and off the drugs, I've been maintaining the 15 pounds. So I'm actually not doing bad. Do you know anybody who's doing Diva only HRT for years? Personally? Well, yeah, I guess I could say I know people who have done Diva only cycles as a cycle HRT for years. Absolutely. I've done like 200 milligrams for like many months, and I knew one guy who was doing 200 to 300 milligrams for months and months, and when he wasn't doing it for like 6+ months, he was doing maybe 30ish milligrams for the rest of the months and years. So yeah, but it's more of a cycle. Isn't Diva one of the more hair toxic steroids? I was under the impression that Anavar was less toxic to hair than Diva. That is all bullshit. Go to my YouTube channel and see the only hair safe steroids for hair loss. It is all bullshit based off on paper, okay? On paper, Anavar being less androgenic, it is all complete bullshit. Out of my like decade here of, you know, my clients and followers and stuff like that, and most of my followers are hair, you know, that kind of what has got me popular is my hair approach to steroids. Every single freaking person sees hair loss on Anavar, man. Everyone, and that only makes sense. It's a DHT. The times I see people complain of hair loss online on forums is people who are using tests and then they go and add Diva and they're getting a little bit more androgenic activity and higher estrogen and prolactin, which also is a issue in it. But yeah, out of all my experience, you know, tens of years of thousands of followers, almost all of them are hair prone, is Deca and Diva have been the only safe ones. Everything you're reading online is bullshit. I mean, go online, it's so funny. You'll see people on Facebook stuff be like, oh, I've used this for years. I don't suffer hair loss. You click on their profile, they're almost bald. They're thinning hugely. Like, people are just so full of shit. That's why, you know, I feel like my anecdotal experience is so much better because, you know, I have the thousands of followers who are hair prone that track it so close and be like, nope, I'm shedding. And, you know, so yeah, they're full of shit. They're going by paper studies on rats that make no sense. Winstrol is very non-androgenic on paper, and look at the hair loss it causes is horrible. I was thinking about how some shed on rosemary. Does that confirm that they had legit male pattern baldness, while those who do not shed on rosemary or minoxidil don't? Because itching usually comes with shedding. So I have to read that again. When you say legit male pattern, that is a tricky. Male pattern baldness is the pattern you are getting, nothing else to do to it. Whether it's from androgen or it's, you know, hereditary genetic, I don't even like using those words. Male pattern baldness is only to do with the pattern. If you have the pattern, you have male pattern baldness because that's what it is from. It is the pattern. Would you consider Testi 150 milligrams, Masteron E 400 milligrams, Deca 150 milligrams a good cycle for gaining mass while remaining lean? I do not have issues with hair loss. Thanks, love your channel, appreciate it. Good cycle for gaining mass while remaining lean. So Masteron is a pretty strong anti-estrogen. Anecdotally, the blood work I've seen on clients, and purely anecdotal. Testosterone, you got your estrogen there. The Masteron might kill your estrogen. I can't say for sure. Yeah, absolutely be a good cycle. Would it be my preferred cycle? Absolutely not. Let's just pretend somebody doesn't have hair loss, like you're saying, and they want a cycle for gaining lean mass while remaining lean. Masteron or Primo in there. I have a little bit more preference for Primo, the look I've had it have on people. I like the dose. Yeah, Primo Mass at 400 milligrams, a decent dose. Considering hair loss while gaining, testosterone is great for strength. It is great for size. If you don't get gyno and you don't get hair loss and anything like that, yeah, sure. I'd say that the Test 150 milligrams I would maybe use as well. Deca 150 milligrams, maybe bump that to 200 just for its more. 200 to 400 milligrams, I might use that. Again, we're kind of getting a bit bigger doses, and I don't like to go too high. 200 to 400 milligrams, and I would add T-ball myself. I absolutely love T-ball. I feel it's the best steroid for hardness and leanness. I would add T-ball 30 to 50 milligrams, but we're getting kind of heavier in cycle. Are your membership prices in USD or CAD? I live in Ontario, in Canada. My membership prices are in USD. Yeah, they're in USD. Much better deal with the yearly, obviously, much cheaper. Oops, I think I just lost my chat. What did I do? Thinking, oh crap, what did I do? Okay. What do you recommend to get more deep sleep? Man, that is a huge question. Number one thing that I find people's issue with sleep, besides blue light blocking this and that and all this other crap, do not eat late. Eat majority of your calories early in the day. When you eat your digestive hormones, like cortisol, which is a digestive hormone, will jack up through the roof. Eat majority of the calories early in the day and have a very light meal come for your dinner 5 p.m. Get all the energy you need early in the day, and then later in the day, eat very light. Bar none, no matter how horrible your sleep issues is, 99 times out of 100, I tell people to do this, their sleep goes amazing. And this is the biggest factor I see in people having horrible sleep is they're eating too heavy, too late, and not majority of their calories early to keep their circadian rhythm in check. Your circadian rhythm in check is the biggest thing for your sleep, and this I find is the biggest issue. No amount of light, you watch TV late, this or that or anything, eating that way is the biggest thing I find. Many nutrients are involved in sleep: vitamin E, copper, calcium. Use chronometer, ensure you're getting all your nutrients, but that one simple thing I find is so important for sleep. I was thinking of using finasteride with testosterone as a base and Anavar. Would you say that Deca and Diva is more hair safe? I haven't gotten huge hair loss, only receding M-shaped hairline. So Anavar, finasteride is not going to protect you from hair loss. Not at all. Anavar, even low doses, causes people hair loss. Every single person I've seen causes hair loss in. So you using Anavar with it, absolutely you're going to get horrible hair loss. Deca and Diva, no matter the dose. 5,000 milligrams Deca in hair loss prone people. 300 milligrams Diva a day, I've never seen freaking cause hair loss. Deca and Diva is going to be way more 100% hair safe in my anecdotal experience. Man, you can use Gorilla Mind Sleep for great quality sleep. Does ashwagandha actually increase tests, or is it another gimmick? No, it actually does increase tests in studies in humans. I can't remember if the study was sponsored by a company or not. So, but it is proven to. Yeah. Do the metabolites from MPP stick around for 20 weeks like Deca, or is that only because of the decadent Easter? The MPP sticks around for the nandrolone metabolite itself. Sticks around. I've heard Clen builds muscle, but how potent is it? How much 40 mcg Clen translate to milligrams? Nobody can answer that. I can even answer that. It's too tricky. Clen does help build muscle. It is due to the androgen receptor increasing. It's going to be a lot more mild. It's going to be a lot more mild. That's the best way I can put it. Please upload this video. Absolutely. I always, it takes like 24 hours or so for the lives to upload. Any advice of usual mistakes you can give on someone who starts? What was that? I don't know what that was from. Any advice? Sorry guys, that noise went off on my phone. Any advice of usual mistakes you can give on someone who starts their first cycle? Test E 250 milligrams weekly. One, don't use tests. Biggest mistake for most people when they don't know what sides they're going to get. Like me, I had horrible gyno from tests and trying to figure out this kept happening. So testosterone, you're gonna get your high risk horrible gyno studies. 24 to 75% of men get nipple issues from test. High risk of hair loss. I would not use testosterone, man. I would use either Deca or Diva, or Deca and Diva for cycle. Absolutely no risk of hair loss, basically, and no risk of gyno, basically. You're just going to see amazing lean gains, like you see all the old 70s pros with, you know, their amazing hair and acne-free skin. I would not use tests. If you're going to use tests for cycle, you're shutting your body down. I would not shut it down for 250 milligrams of gains. I would use 500 milligrams minimum. You know, you're putting that stress in your body, make it worth it. I'd also use natural DHT control like pumpkin seed and even primrose oil, and I would use natural estrogen control, like you know, you're using a higher dose of adequate vitamin A, adequate vitamin E, and maybe calcium D-glucarate if you need it. Man, you got mentioned on Derek's channel. Yeah, I seen that. Derek is a good guy. Okay, thanks. I just paid for your subscription. Thanks for answering the question. Absolutely, no problem. I'm just getting around. A lot of people use the Facebook group, but I'm trying to transfer most people to my forum because it's much easier for me to compile the info. You put something in a Facebook group, it gets lost. Before I got sick there, I uploaded a whole bunch of new content to the forum, like, you know, full workouts on the best exercise for this and example meal plans. But I hadn't posted a little bit because I've been a little bit sick. So I'm going to be posting a whole bunch of new content this week again. Ask as many questions as you want in the forum. That's what the forum is there for, to just ask questions and have me answer them. So ask away. Yeah, and we post a lot more new content this week. Can you use a cortisol blocker? Appreciate it. I'm not sure if that was to the sleep part. I wouldn't suggest that. If your cortisol is up, you want to. I'm not sure if you guys can hear me properly because I think the subs are making a noise. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest using something like a cortisol blocker, like to get just fixing the cortisol issue with what I said. You know, you need cortisol. Cortisol needed for utilization of protein, carbs, and fats. It is to control inflammation. It is so important. Don't go blocking your cortisol. It's bad today to keep cortisol low, and it's so horrible. Don't do that. What did I do? Okay. Is D-ball or Anavar only cycle okay for male pattern baldness guys without it as a test phase? I just answered this a few times. I'm not sure if you heard me. Go to my YouTube channel, see my only hair safe steroids. Anavar is not safe for hair. It is not safe for hair. No, every single person over my 10 years and thousands of hair loss prone guys, Anavar is horrible for your hair loss. D-ball or any doses 300 milligrams a day, I've never seen it cause hair loss. Go with if I want to use Diva only cycles on and off without Deca, how much weeks do I need to stay off? About 3 to 4. 4, you get a little bit better gains. 3 weeks minimum though. Can you simplify information on how muscle can remember A's use, like how you can bank myonuclei? The myonuclei you get from steroids, that actually doesn't go away. It will, but it takes a very long time. So that is why A's used are always going to be bigger, because they fast track their way to a much higher amount of myonuclei. Another reason why bro splits work so good is because they showed to create new myonuclei, you needed to beat a muscle down so badly that it took 5+ days to recover its strength. So yeah, that's another way in why bro splits usually became more popular through experience. People notice, hey, I just grew better from a bro split. How much time off is what I mean. I think that was for the cycle. 4 to 6 weeks for the cycle. Go 6 weeks and see where, you know. That sound is loud as fuck. I don't know if I can turn it off or what. Sorry guys. No, I don't. Sorry. Campbell is getting too famous with all the subscribers midstream. Yeah, I don't know if you can turn it off. Sorry. Sometimes it just starts working out of nowhere midstream. Yeah, it just started. Yeah, midstream. I don't know. Where am I? That sound is annoying. I don't know, guys. Sorry. Maybe I can wait. Actually, maybe I can turn my volume on my phone down. Hopefully, you guys can still hear me. Okay, guys. Hopefully you can still. Hold on. I'm gonna go back up to my chat in a second. Can you still hear me? I'm waiting for somebody to reply yes, obviously, first. So I'm not going to answer any questions just in case you can't hear me. Fix, but can you hear me? Yeah, it worked. Okay, good. Where did I leave off? Is depot ever? If I want to use depot, no. How often can you safely run a depot only cycle? How safely can you run a depot only cycle? Nobody can answer that. So the old pros stayed on for years. You know, P.D. Grumkowski, the co-founder of Gold's Gym, stayed on for 27 years. Look how many guys stay on TRT. Like the old pros stayed on. If you see my old video, my depot only oral only cycle, I mentioned old pros stayed on orals for years. So I mean, with the typical orals regarding like the designer ones like Super Joel, those are very liver toxic in weeks. The old steroids were ran for years. You know, you can run it as long as you want, but go to my tan.com, read my short versus long cycle article. You know that I post multiple studies on long esters and short esters that the gains stop within 6 weeks. 90% of the gains in strength and size. So I don't know why you'd want to run it any longer. I wouldn't. Can you simplify? Okay, never mind. Sorry. How much time on? Oh, no. Campbell was getting. What happened to my chat? PCT protocol for depot only cycle. Go to tan.com, see my how to prevent shutdown. So if you want it, you could run Clomid at the beginning, throughout the cycle, and a bit after, and it will fully prevent shutdown your LH, FSH, testosterone, and your body won't even know it ran a cycle. That is an option that you can choose to do. If you don't want to choose that, you can just run a PCT afterwards. Truly, you can get away with only Clomid. That restarts the whole system. If you want to be a little bit safe and a little more aggressive because you didn't run something throughout the cycle to help prevent shutdown, I like a mixture of, well, it depends on what size. Novadex has a decent risk of hair loss, so it really depends on the size you want to avoid. Clomid is your safe bet for avoiding most sides. But if you want to be aggressive, Clomid, a little bit of Novadex, just 10 milligrams a day for 6 weeks. I like my PCTs. And then I like an AI at a lower dose starting it and throughout. And then when you come off, keep the AI up for a week or two. And I just like ADEX. As you know, when you're on steroids, your testicles don't produce that. You know, the testosterone isn't being made, so the estrogen isn't being converted in your testicles. So this is why men on steroids or TRT, they show that AIs crush your estrogen. But when you're natural and AIs cannot touch the estrogen made in your testicles. So when you're natural, there's studies on men using like 22 milligrams ADEX a day, and their estrogen is like no difference from 2 milligrams a day, and it couldn't crush it. So AIs are safe when you're using PCT and beneficial, and when you come off, it's beneficial. So that is what I like. As for doses, it depends on how hard you want to go. I'm going to throw out random examples. 100 milligrams Clomid for 3 days, and 50 milligrams for 2 weeks, and 25 milligrams for the last 4 weeks. With our Mididex at the end, about 1 milligrams every other day. That's just a random example I'm throwing out. Please remove the sub sound. Can't hear when you talk. It pops up. Mute it. Can you? Is Lasix safe or worth running for bloat reduction? I mean, low dose, yeah. You know, I mean, it's safe. It's used medically. It is. You know, just don't overdo it and don't be stupid with it. One of the things I'm concerned about about taking Diva is organ damage due to its toxicity as an oral. I've taken Test and Deca over 400 milligrams. A test in my hairline receded. I'm sure of it. There's a study on 100 milligrams D-ball used for 6 weeks with no oral toxicity. Go to my oral only D-ball cycle video on here. The old pros, and there's doctors like Dr. Kerr who treated a lot of old powerlifters and bodybuilders. He had a powerlifter that took 7 bottles of D-ball a day, 700 tabs a day, okay? Countless of the old pros are on record stating how they took it by the bottle. I've taken 1,200 milligrams of D-ball a day with grapefruit juice for 2 weeks. I've taken 300 milligrams, 200 to 300 milligrams of D-ball for months on end. And I've known endless people do this. So many people in my following take it and their liver is fine. I'm not telling you to do it, but it is not liver toxic like people have made it out to seem. It has been abused the shit out of, and it's not what people make it out to seem. I'm not suggesting do this. I'm just letting you know the facts. Yeah. Man, can you use a glucose disposal agent after a heavy carb meal? If you're needing to, your diet's not proper. You know, that's why camel diet, as people call my diet on my forums and my Facebook group and stuff like that, is, you know, no matter how much carbs you're eating, their blood glucose is always fine. If you're eating like white rice, and to utilize glucose and store it as glycogen, your carbs and stuff like that, you need a very specific amount of nutrients. When people are eating white rice, they're not getting those nutrients, as example. So if your diet is poor and you're not getting nutrients you're needing, you know, you're not going to be healthy. You're not going to see as good of gains. Example, as you need water to store every single gram of glucose in your muscle as glycogen, you also need a very specific amount of potassium. Potassium helps release insulin. It helps insulin sensitivity. So if you're eating a healthy diet and, you know, mega dosing potato, which you should, because eating empty calories like white rice isn't going to help you build muscle like potato. When you eat potato that is rich in potassium, you're going to help store all of those carbs as glycogen. You're going to help your insulin sensitivity, this and that. And, you know, there's an example on my page where I show people who kept their calories the same, but I increased their nutrients, just switched out certain foods, and they blow up with glycogen like 7 pounds. They look fuller, harder, leaner. So you shouldn't need it. No, you shouldn't use it. You should eat better, basically. So considering using AAs, how long will it affect later on in life? As if you use AAs then stop for years, would it be easier to gain from muscle minor? Absolutely, this is proven. This is proven in studies, basically, that you'll always have an advantage. Basically, I think it was like 2 decades later, maybe the study was, but I can't remember exactly off the top of my head. Is citric bergamot an effective way to lower cholesterol? Don't lower cholesterol. Studies show that people with higher LDL live longer, less all-cause mortality and stuff like that. As I pointed out earlier, studies on people with high cholesterol weren't at high risk for heart disease. It was people with higher calcium in their blood. Cholesterol makes up every single cell in your body. It's used to, you know, it heals every single cell in your body. You don't want to reduce cholesterol. Your cholesterol is high is because you're under inflammation or your body's not using it because you're on steroids. I would not say it's dangerous. It is when you have high calcium in the blood that is causing these issues. And high calcium in the blood is due to steroids increasing them. You need more K2 to take it out of the blood, magnesium to keep it soluble. And you're likely eating a poor magnesium diet like most everyone, poor K2, because cows are grain fed. When cows were grass fed, as one example, they had double the K2 content because they converted K1 from grass into K2. So fix your diet and don't worry so much about cholesterol, is my say. What is your opinion on SARMs like carnitine or RAD 140 in your short cycle advice? I don't like any SARMs really. They're very weak. Not a lot of them, but some of them are more are very androgenic. The DHT based ones cause more sides than actual steroids. I don't like them. Do you think injection frequency makes a difference for testosterone? Thanks. Absolutely, it does. Well, it depends on what context, right? You know, if you're dipping, yeah, absolutely. The more frequency, the better for keeping, you know, your androgens up while your estrogen is kind of up. What do you think of Chase Irons calling you small? I have no idea who Chase Irons is. I'm not sure if he's a YouTuber or somebody in here saying something. Let me Google it. Maybe I'll YouTube it. If he called me small, he'd be absolutely right. I don't know if that's a YouTuber or somebody said in here. Yeah, I don't know who Chase. Did I spell it? I don't know. Here's absolutely right. I haven't cycled in like 3 years, so and I haven't worked out, and I've eaten very poorly, like under 50 grams of protein a day for like 3 years. I sure as hell hope I would be small. And even before then, when I did cycle, I did a proper 6-week cycle, and then I was off for like a year or more. Like, I have not cycled. My last few cycles, I would like run a 4 to 6 week cycle. I would half-ass it, and then I would not work out, not do anything for like a year plus every time. So, you know, with the way I do things, I very well hope I would be smaller. Else, if I was big, I'd have the best genetics in the whole entire world for not working out and eating 50 grams of protein a day, and being off everything. What am I doing? Oh, never mind. Oh, shit, I lost the chat again. Please explain debol without tests as a base. Most people are saying it's worse and only running tests. This has been bugging me for months and no one's willing to explain. This is one of the things I always say to people. If somebody's telling you something and you ask them to explain it, and they can explain it, realize that they're full of shit and they're just parroting something they read and they don't actually know the science of anything or to what they're saying. So the question is, why would it be worse? That's literally what you asked them, right? Why would it be worse? And that's what I'm kind of asking you as I answer the question. Why would it be worse? Some people like to say, oh, because, example, it makes methyl estrogen and not normal estrogen. Oh, sorry, not normal, your estrogen that you make naturally. So if your worry is replacing every single hormone bioidentically, then why are you running steroids and testosterone in the first place? When you're running testosterone, you're not so, you know, when you run testosterone, it shuts down pituitary, which will also shut down adrenal hormones and so on and so on. You are not replacing the cortisol lowering effect that it's doing. Cortisol needed for inflammation. It's needed to use like protein, carbs, and fats. You're affecting dozens of different hormones, whether it's your neurotransmitters, you are affecting your progesterone, you're literally affecting dozens of different hormones here. And if it's because you're not replacing the exact bioidentical ones, okay, well then again, why are you running steroids in the first place? You're running steroids and you're taking risks and shutting down multiple various aspects in your body. What is the difference in you taking a risk of something you don't even know if it'll have a different consequence? What do you know of the consequences of methyl estrogen versus estrogen for 6 weeks, you having a different form of estrogen? What is the consequences? Have these people studied so when you take a hormone, you know, the ligand transcript, when it's binding to the androgen receptor, right? Hundreds of different DNA transcripts are being carried out, okay? Literally hundreds. When these people ask these questions, be like, okay, what DNA transcripts that is being activated am I missing out on? Like nobody has a clue. That is the issue with this. They don't know whether, you know, this transcript is, you know, has this specific important aspect here or there. Like none of these people know. The only thing we do know is that an androgen they will attach to the androgen receptor, and the androgen receptor is what carries out the aspects of whether it's estrogenic functions or androgenic functions. And we very well know that from what we see on the surface layer, and that may be all that matters, is that every single function is being carried out. We're seeing increased hair growth. We're seeing the prostate keep its growth, keep its weight, because when you're deprived of androgen, specific steroids and studies, you know, you see the prostate shrink and stuff, which can be a bad thing, right? You know, unless, you know, you have excessive prostate growth. So yeah, they can't answer that, and nobody can answer that. There's nothing to say. However, the things, like example, say running testosterone, you having high estrogen levels, because, you know, testosterone converts almost linearly, you know, doubling when you double the dose. We know that high estrogen levels increases your risk of heart, you know, whether it's heart disease and stuff. You're running steroids, you're accepting that you're shutting down dozens of various different hormones. You are taking a whole bunch of risk. So no matter what, you know what I mean, you're coming down to and putting your body at danger in a sense, but we're doing our best to prevent these dangers. And most people, when they want to run a cycle, you know, either way, testosterone at higher than TRT doses, and even TRT doses can cause issues. That's why we see men on TRT, you know, their prostate swells, their prostate hypertrophy. So no matter what, you're running sides, and testosterone is going to carry its own sides that you wouldn't get with, let's say, Deca or Diva. Testosterone suppresses the immune system. Deca increases the immune system. So like, you're running testosterone is causing a whole bunch of negative effects, whether they like to admit it or not. At least when you choose to run Deca or Diva or cycles, you can choose some of the sides that are lifelong, that, or not even lifelong, you know, some you can reverse, that you may want to avoid. You know, let's say you want to avoid acne scars, because testosterone is going to give you immense acne. You know, how to avoid that? You can avoid gynecomastia, which, you know, some people have very tricky time controlling it with AIs, because they shut down their SHBG, and their free estrogen jacks up, and the AI can control their estrogen. They can prevent hair loss and stuff like that. So either way, you're taking a risk, and nobody can point out one single risk that you running Diva as HRT that is going to be affect you. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. That is going to affect you that in a way testosterone wouldn't affect you. So they can't answer that. They won't ever answer that, because they can't name one single thing. And you know, Diva has been used. There's a reason why nandrolone, as an example too, has been used medically as a form of HRT. They know that activates the androgen receptor. It's carrying out all the aspects that a normal androgen would, and you know, we're replacing estrogen. The same thing with Diva, but we're not replacing any of the other hormones that testosterone isn't replacing. So it's, you know, there is no real difference, to be honest. Sorry guys, got a little sidetracked and my mind is going there, and you're trying to keep up on this. Can we use insulin on a first cycle? Would it be of any benefit to consume only 3,000 calories for bulk? When people bulk, I like them to go hard. Obviously, it depends on the individual. Usually, with my way of dieting, like I explained with polyunsaturated fatty acids, I had people overeat 700 calories a day, either saturated fat or polyunsaturated fatty acids. The polyunsaturated fat group almost went entirely to muscle, and the saturated fat group almost went entirely to fat gain. So when I make diets, I base them off micronutrient. I make it based off food choices versus macros. When you eat a certain way, you're going to ensure that most of the food that you're eating is going to go towards muscle. So I usually jack up the calories, and people do not get fat. If you go to my website, tan.com, go to testimonials, you'll see a testimony by Jordan Peters, actually. I recently helped him, and it was funny. So maybe I won't mention too much cycle information. Anyways, he was coming off a cut and going into bulk, and I jacked up his fats by about 80 grams, okay, but of the right fats, seeds, polyunsaturated fats, right? And he was on less stuff that would help him lose fat, right? Because he's going into bulk, and he actually started losing fat while jacking his calories up through the roof. So this is how much food choices matter versus just macros and calories. Would insulin be beneficial? Absolutely. Insulin is great. I love insulin. I have an insulin. Go to tan.com, read my insulin article. I break down how certain insulins and studies cause weight loss and appetite loss, and some cause weight gain and appetite due to appetite increase. Every insulin is different, and I break down how to use insulin. People giving advice like 10 grams of carbs per IU is complete ridiculous. For 300 grams of carbs, you may need 10 IU. I may need 5,000 IU. It completely depends on your insulin sensitivity. You must work your insulin around your diet and base it off the dose that you need for the carbs that you're eating and the food that you're eating. Never just go by a random suggestion. Insulin is amazing. It's one of my favorite items to bulk with. Look at the studies. Look at the attempted suicide rates on insulin. I think it was 200 people, the one study. Only less than 2% succeeded in dying when they ate no food and they took an overdose of insulin, and only 2% of them could succeed in death. So you eating and taking a calculated dose of insulin, the rest of the dangers are non-existent. I've had to use up to 300 IU due to my sensitivity being poor, due to taking a drug before. Yeah, it's insanely beneficial, and it's very overrated, the dangers of it. What was going on? Oh, what did I miss? Derek brought me here. What's up? Appreciate you coming and joining and following if you have some. Small compared to pro bodybuilders, maybe, but for a guy who is not a pro, Tanny is pretty big. Yeah, when I'm working out and stuff like that. Well, this is the funny thing I think is funny. I'm 6'4", if you guys don't know that. Well, I always think it's funny when you see a 6'4" guy that like looks like he works out a little bit, and when you see him beside a pro bodybuilder, it's like, oh shit, like actually the 6'4" guy that actually looks kind of like, he actually looks bigger than the pro bodybuilder. So yeah, Definitely not, you know, big, but when I am working out, I feel like I carry decent size. You know, when I'm next to somebody. Well, let me try and bring up a picture. I don't have many pictures with people, but what am I doing? Oh, there's a picture in here somewhere. Okay, here we go. Hopefully this auto focuses. So this is me when I actually ran a little bit of a cycle a few weeks prior, and then I stopped the cycle. I completely quit working out again like normal. So this is me not working out, off cycle, and only at about 220 pounds at 6'4", me next to I guess a normal size. I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe over here. Is it focusing? Maybe I get my head out of the shot. So yeah, that's me at 220 pounds. Yeah, not working out, not on cycle. And obviously, that's the funny thing. Like if me at 220 pounds, when I take a picture and by myself, it's like, oh, I look kind of small. But then when I'm next to somebody and I'm not even, like my biggest, like you've seen in the one picture, I was 250 pounds, right? And obviously that's like 30 pounds bigger than this. My arms are probably a good couple inches bigger. But yeah, me standing next to a normal sized human, it's like I make them look like a child. Yeah, but when I'm by myself, it's like, oh shit, I look small. But that's the negative of being 6'4". When you take a picture by yourself, it's like, oh shit, I look small. And when you take a picture of somebody else, it's like, oh shit, they look like a child next to you. You got any regime for good breath without that chemical stuff? Absolutely. I'm very big on oral health, even though sometimes I don't take care of it myself. When I'm eating bad, I'm very bad with my oral health. When I am taking care of my body, I very am. Ensure you don't allow bacterial overgrowth and cavities. You know, rotten tooth will make your breath horrible. Whenever I eat, this was proven to help prevent cavities. In between bites and in between the meal, I swish my water with mouth, and after I'm done eating, I always swish my mouth very good with water. This will help food debris and neutralize the acids in your mouth, and this is a big thing in keeping good dental health. Another thing is antibacterials. It depends on what you like. Cloves is another thing. It's very good antibacterial and helping your breath smell very fresh. It was something used for thousands of years by different cultures. Chewing on cloves is very good to help keep the bacteria in control and keep good dental health, to help keep your breath good. A few other things. I'll just kind of leave that topic in there, I guess, maybe. Yeah, he was just trying to discredit you by saying that you're small and we shouldn't listen to you because of it. I don't. Is this guy a YouTuber? Maybe link him in the thing. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's funny. Chase Iron is an idiot. He's used anabolics for 10 years and still hired a coach, paid for his simple bulk cycle. That's the funny thing. And anybody says anything like that to me, like I said, like I hope I'm freaking small, because I run a 6-week cycle and I half-ass it like every couple of years or something like that, and then I don't work out and I literally eat 50 grams of protein and like 1 or 2 meals a day, and I let my body go to complete shit. So if I am not small, like something is going on. But I think that's funny. If you guys go, like I just mentioned a second ago, if you go to tian.com, you go to my testimonials, and I don't even have half of them up already. You'll see everybody, whether it's, you know, I have pros or just mass, you know, like Jordan Peters recently, anybody who I've helped or worked with or anything like that, all you will see is them praise me to hell. You know what I mean? Just say, oh my God, Tian's so knowledgeable, help me with this, it's mind blowing, this and that and this and that. So I mean, you know, I don't care. I don't even know who he is. Maybe he's a big YouTuber. I don't know. I don't really watch YouTube though. I just kind of started, so that's why I do watch YouTube. But when I watch YouTube, it's stupid stuff. I don't really watch other things on YouTube. All those pro bodybuilders got smaller. Coaches that know a bunch of it, that helps them get there. If you could go back in time, what's your recommendation for a first cycle for yourself? What tips or concerns would you raise in comparison to what you then versus what you know now? Would never run tests. Hair loss, gyno issues, you know what I mean? And so many people see with horrible acne scars from it. Luckily, I didn't get acne scars from it. I got bad acne. I'd run Deca and Diva. And tests lie to me so much, and that's the one thing I hate it. And lies to so many people, and that's why they're afraid to come off tests. They gain 10 pounds of water weight, they come off, oh, I can't keep my muscle. It's like, no, you actually didn't gain that much muscle. A lot of it was water weight, and you come off and lose the water weight, and so you thought you ate enough to gain 20 pounds, but you really just gained 10 pounds and gained 10 pounds of water weight. What I like about Deca is that you don't gain 20 pounds of water weight. What you see is actual muscle. So you know, it'd be like, wow, I actually have to eat a lot to gain 20 pounds. And when you eat a lot, you actually gain that 20 pounds and you come off and you keep it. Like my last proper cycle I ran, when I gained 50 pounds, 25 pounds of it was muscle memory, 25 pounds was a new weight. I came off that cycle. I ate once or twice a day. I did not work out for 6 months. And finally, when it came 6 months, I started to lose the muscle. And that's why I tell people, when you actually gain your actual muscle, it takes time for that muscle to go away. So people who are losing muscle after a cycle, you're losing water. You're not losing muscle. And that's what I hate about tests. It lies to you. So Deca Diva, I would have saved the hair loss, would have saved the gyno, would have saved, tests made me so emotional, ups and downs. It ruined my life in many aspects. I would have never ran tests. Man, like the gyno scars I have now because I got surgery, and oh my God, I hate it the way oh my God, Deca and Diva will not have ran tests. Simple as that, basically. What did I miss? Speaking of whining about being small, what do you think about staying huge for decades in regards to health, being on A's and messing up hormones? Staying huge, probably not great. I'd say staying huge definitely isn't great. But I would say that's different for everyone in which sense, right? Like a pro bodybuilder huge versus fitness model huge, right? And then it also depends on what you're having to use to maintain it, especially more so of the leanness aspect. You already answered a lot of that while I was typing. Hear from more Derek. Awesome, I appreciate it. Dex, can we see your collab with more plates, more dates soon? Post on Derek's wall. I think Derek's a great guy. As you know, he said he came to me for some things and stuff like that. What was he gonna say? And then, he's helped me a lot when I was starting YouTube here, you know what I mean? I was just so lost and stuff like that. I mean, not like, I don't know how to word, just even things like, like, what do you do, man? Like what's this and stuff like that. Like Derek helped me a lot there. Like, just like, I don't even want to say figure stuff out because, it's kind of like, what do you figure out? It's YouTube. But more so just like, just to do it aspect, you know what I mean? He helped me immensely with me just being like, okay, just do it and stuff like that. He's helped me immensely there with with that, like very valuable and appreciative, that like top like by a lot. Your opinion on Derek's top 5 content creator? I haven't watched it. I hate watching YouTube videos. I really appreciate Derek shouting me out. I hate watching YouTube videos. I don't care who it is. I can read a million times faster. Like, you put a page in front of me and it's like, I can just go through it so fast. So when I have to listen to people talking to you, I freaking hate it. Like, somebody mentioned it and linked it to me and I skimmed it. I didn't even watch it past myself, actually. So I seen Vigorous Steve and then I see myself, and maybe mentioned somebody before. I think I mentioned somebody before me and I skimmed it. I just can't stand, you know what I mean? Like, my brain processes so fast. I want to read it and just swipe the pages. I can't watch YouTube videos. I just can't. If I'm watching a YouTube video, it's something stupid, like, just for a quick laugh or something random. But yeah. Thoughts on finasteride? Don't like finasteride. We know in animal studies blocking DHT can lead to penis muscle shrinkage. I just don't like it. Absolutely not. Go to chain.com, read my hair loss protocol. Stop hair loss naturally, the proper way. We know what causes hair loss. Balding men don't have high serum DHT levels. They have high local DHT levels. And that's due to hypoxia, the tension on the scalp, the less scalp fat that we have. Due to whether, steroids can help worsen it, but, our posture and stuff like that is a big cause of it. Balding men have higher local DHT levels. So why take something serum that blocks it when you should be attacking it topically or locally and not just doing like local topically things, but actually fixing the reason why we have hypoxia, which is increases 5-AR enzyme, which causes an increase in DHT. So fix it locally. Don't take that drug. How do you break a weight gain plateau? Thanks a lot. Go to channel.com, read my short versus long cycles article. Come off the damn steroids if you've been on 6 weeks. As studies show, long Easters and short Easters, 90% of the gains were in the first 6 weeks. Staying on longer, we only had an anti-catabolic effect. Come off the steroids, have a break, and jump back on. And then on top of it, up your fats. Up your fats a lot. Fats. People eat way too low fats. People go by the minimum fats needed for proper performance and eat way too freaking low fats. Yeah, way more fats. You are 9 times out of 10 people are eating low fats. Muscle made with 7% fats. You overeat carbs, you're not going to gain any muscle, any extra muscle. You know, glycogen is full, insulin, blah, blah, blah. Same with protein. Your protein's maxed, but people never max out their fats, ever. I would rather look like you than chase any. Somebody linked me the chase person. I don't know what he who he is or what he looks like. I don't even know why he talked about me. I'm not like I'm a big YouTuber or anything. Yeah, I don't like people talking about me. How does Clomid on depot-only cycle prevent shutdown? I thought the common sense is that nothing can prevent shutdown. Go to tn.com, under articles, read my how to prevent shutdown cycle. I link the studies there, and then I have my YouTube video here. Here's the thing I always hate, and I point it to people. People say a lot of bullshit for stuff they don't know. Example, let's say the earth is round, right? Obviously. But let's say we've never seen the earth be round, right? And you know, people used to think the earth was flat. Who are we to argue when somebody says the earth is round, but we say no, it's not round, but we've never seen it. So if it's unknown, it's unknown. Nobody's ever known if Clomid prevented shutdown when they were posting these things. It's like, just because something is unknown to you and you've never seen the studies doesn't mean it's false, doesn't mean it's true. It's unknown. I've always hated this with the bodybuilding community. If it's unknown, it's false. That doesn't make sense. People have never seen these studies, and I guess I'm the first to bring the studies up with, I guess that's with a lot of my information though. So it's prevent shutdowns. We know the most harshly shutdown is estrogen at the pituitary, more so than androgens. So basically what they did, the studies, they you know, whether it was they used testosterone, they used double the dose testosterone, they used double the dose estrogen, they used different A's like Halo, and the Clomid during the whole cycle prevented full shutdown of LH, testosterone, FSH, everything. So you know, the main mechanism would be it blocking estrogen at the pituitary, will fully prevent it shutdown. Is 315 a good bench for a natty? I'd say it's relative, right? Like what somebody thinks is a good bench press. You know, somebody who is a long-term lifter, I would say like a long-term lifter and benching 315 for, you know, lowish reps even, I would say that's really good. For a newbie, I'd say that's, you know, like, I don't know, a year or more, that's amazing. I'd say for a long-term lifter, you know, they can get a good few reps, 315, I'd say that's pretty damn good. So handsome, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Hilfiger Steve is here. What does your full day of eating look like in short? Again, normally, as I just said, I will run a cycle like every couple of years, 6 weeks. If you're asking my normal day of eating, while I'm doing nothing at all and being a complete worthless human being, it'll be a takeout meal and a bunch of random junk food, brownies and random crap throughout the day, literally destroying my body and my health. That is what my normal day looks like. So it'll be 30 to 50 grams of protein and the rest is a bunch of sugar. Complete garbage. So I'm not sure if you're asking that is or what I do on cycle. On cycle is very different, and what I do on cycle is not what I suggest to people, because I'm very lazy, and this is why I don't stick to anything. I don't really give a crap about bodybuilding too much anymore. I mean, I do. You know, I'm so focused on the health and like, you know, just health. Even though I'm eating crap, don't judge me for that. I'm just, you know, workload, doing this and that crap. You know, I fall into the stress of just eating complete crap. What I will do when I'm in a bulk is completely different from what other people do. I will eat like 2 of my meals would be something like chicken wings because of the extreme calorie content, and my one meal may be something like chicken thighs or fatty steak or ribs, completely huge calorie dense meals. And you know, if I'm eating rice, it could be like, you know, 2 to 3 to 4 cups of rice sometimes. It is, again, I'm 6'4", so it'd be a lot of food. And like I don't like rice, as I explained before, the lack of nutrients, but I'll use other fruits or vegetables to make up for the lack of nutrients, to make the rice be usable, the carbs from it. This is not what I suggest to people. If you ever see any of my clients' diets, they don't look like that. So what I do is completely different. And I will base diets around people's, their daily life and stuff like that. And that's what I do for myself. If I want to bulk and, just eat 3 meals a day, then I'm going to have to sacrifice on certain things to get there that may not be the most optimal. So that is me basing around off my lifestyle. Do you think there is a semi-accurate way to gauge your natural muscular potential? I know there isn't an exact equation, but for yourself, were you able to anticipate your growth in any way? I would say, I feel like most people, well, that's not even a thing, because people, here's the thing, people have different androgen receptor sensitivity, and this is what matters fully for your, the way you respond to resistance training. And you could say somebody has poor androgen receptor sensitivity due to genetics, but you could also say no, it's due to diet, and there's a lot of different dietary nutrients that affect your androgen receptor sensitivity. So somebody thinking that poor genetics should just be due to poor diet. Aaron Curtis is one of my examples that I like to think is the max, and I think most people can get there naturally to his size. Even people argue that he's not natural, sorry, but you ever see him in a contest, he shrinks down to shit. Naturals cannot hold their size that well when they're dieting, and look at him as a great example. Aaron Curtis has been the same size since he was like 17. If he's on steroids and he's doing things so severely wrong, but if he's natural, you can that it's just more proof to it. Where am I going? A bit off topic and specific, but who was your favorite? Who had your favorite forms in bodybuilding, weightlifting, etc.? I'm assuming you mean forms. Funny that you mentioned this. I can't say I've ever looked at any bodybuilders and looked at their forms and be like, okay, I love the shape of their forearms. I do this with every other body part though. Like Kevin Lavoni, he's one of my favorite physiques because I like a more narrow back, too wide, I think destroys the V's. I like tall traps. I like very big rear delts, because when you're looking at it from the front view, tall traps and the rear delts kind of sticking out, and very big triceps, so you see it sticking out again. Those are some of my favorite aspects of a physique as an example. And I'll admit, I've never looked at the forms and judge who has the prettier forms or whatever I want to say. But I will admit this, forms is something very important, and I include in almost all my plans. Very few people get gifted genetically where they lift heavy and they grow big forearms. But I still see this in so many powerlifters. They will lift heavy and their forearms don't grow, because people like say, oh, forearms, you need to be lifting heavy. But no, I think most people end up with shit forms because they don't train them genetically, and that's why guys like Lee Priest, who have some of the best forms, need to train them directly. And I think it fills out a physique so properly. I'm all about looking at a physique in detail and being like, okay, so many people look smaller than they actually are. I try and tell people this because they're missing a muscle head in a muscle group. Example, they're missing their inner thighs abductor, and if they just fill that out, their legs will look twice as big. Same with their arms. They're missing a long head, and they just fill that out, their arms will look twice as big again. So I'm all about fine detail like that. So forms is one thing I've neglected to I'd say who has the prettiest form, shape and size and look, but they are something that I believe that needs to be very big to have a very amazing physique, and they need to be hit directly. KTN, been a while since I've made a live. Good to see you. Wondering if you researched the latest hair graying and the protocols to reverse it. Not sure. I think you're in my group. I recognize your name. I've reversed a fair few people's gray hairs. Gray hair can have multiple different reasons why it's gray. 9 times out of 10, I find it's a copper deficiency. Copper, calcium, some of the B vitamins, tyrosine, and phenylalanine. Those are the main things that I find for reversing gray hair. But 9 times out of 10, I just tell somebody to up their copper, and it reverses. Copper is very low in most people's diets. If you check your chronometer, it's very low, and the suggested RDA is possibly like 8 times lower than what it should be. But yeah, your thoughts on minoxidil? Don't like it. Don't like the collagen breakdown. Ages the face. Most people use it have an aged face. They get dark circles on their eyes. And you see people complain about this all the time. They feel they look 10 years older, and I don't like it. I'd rather use lots of other different items and ways that are proven to increase circulation, like peppermint oil and Go to tan.com, read my hair loss article. Those are all the things I like for hair loss, and I like to avoid side effects as well. If you had to pick between Cialis and a pre-workout with, say, citrulline, what would you gravitate towards? Why? No, literally, so I've had a fair few top powerlifters, like first place worldwide powerlifter as an example. If you go to tan.com, check my testimonials to see my some of the people I worked with. Bar none, every single one of the people in my group and stuff like that, tomato juice. Bar none, nothing beats it. No single pre-workout, no single this or this or that. Tomato juice in the can specifically for the extra sodium, nothing beats this for pre-workout. Your pumps, you look twice as big, your strength because of the histamine in it, the nitrates in it. It is the best pre-workout ever. Tomato juice in the can pre-workout is the best thing, and nothing else is close to it. What's your favorite scary movie? I don't like scary movies. I never have. Like very rarely, every few years, I maybe watch one for that thriller or something like that. But I don't like scary movies, and I don't like action movies. I don't like things where I feel like there's like no substance in it. Like I know I'm just watching it, you're just watching it for, oh, what's gonna happen there, or what's gonna happen in the end, or something like that. Like, I don't know, I feel like I like movies that make me think in a sense. Like I like let's say some indie dramas or something like that, something that makes you be like, I don't know, they just make you question not life but like people's lives, or like, you know what I mean, like just things about, not even things about, I don't know, like, they just make you question humans and stuff like that. Yeah, stuff like that was kind of like what I'm into, I'd say. Diva only cycle protocol, PCT dosage, hair loss for a natty, 170 pounds. 30 milligrams is the lowest likely to cycle if you're going to shut yourself down and get something out of it. 50 milligrams is a medium dose, and 75 to 100 milligrams is a heavy dose. Everybody has their own individual, what they want to do with the cycle, this or that. How do I answer this? The best way I can answer is, if it was me, I would do 75 to 100 milligrams a day. That's what I would do. If it was going to be my first cycle, I'd be scared of shutdown like I was, and I would have probably ran Clomid during it. Go to tan.com or check my YouTube video, how to prevent shutdown. I probably would have did Clomid during the cycle, so I would have prevented shutdown, so I could have played with A's more safely in my mind. That's what I would have done. Yeah, that's the best way I would describe is how I would have done it. How to prevent gynecomastia? A Diva only cycle, 6 weeks on, 3 weeks off is good. You shouldn't get it. Most people that get increased gyno off Diva is when they're running it with Test. You'll notice that none of the old pros basically didn't have it. None of my guys that run Diva only basically get gyno. And I'm talking guys like me who'd get gyno off 100 milligrams Test. They run mega doses of Diva, and we don't get gyno. So that should not be a worry. If it is a worry, my natural anti-estrogen protocol, go to my YouTube channel, see the natural anti-estrogen protocol, vitamin E, vitamin A, via your diet, and Carfucius vegetables like calcium D-glucarate. Sorry guys, I'm getting tired here, trying to keep up. Tian, you said you're against finasteride for hair loss, but could someone use a low dose and be okay? And if not, what can you use for hair loss prevention? Go to tian.com. I have a hair loss article where I explain the in-depth reasons of how we get hair loss and stuff like that. No, I would not use it. Absolutely no. I do not like the side effects of it. And it's blocking mainly your serum DHT. This is why it barely works as is for people, and they still continue to lose hair loss. Balding men do not have high serum DHT. They have high local DHT. The reason they have high local DHT is because of lack of blood flow to the scalp. Lack of blood flow decreases oxygen. It causes hypoxia. It increases 5-AR because of the lack of oxygen. This is all proven in studies, and this is why we only see it in specific regions of the scalp, because that's where the tension is, and that tension is what cuts off circulation, and that's what increases DHT locally. I like to use a specific topicals and a few specific things internally, and increasing your circulation to your scalp, so you're not using these harsh drugs that don't work that well. What would you look into if a person feels fatigued even when their diet and sleep is fine? Go to chronometer.com and actually make sure all your nutrients are there in your diet. Make sure your sleep is good. I already explained this earlier, how to get the best sleep possible for most people. Your circadian rhythm, if it's off and you're not getting a deep sleep, eat all your calories early in the day and eat a very light dinner, extremely light, 9 times out of 10 or 99 times out of 100. This is, I find, what fixes everybody's circadian rhythm and they sleep proper, and that might be your fatigue issue. Well, calcium is involved in fatigue. So many things are involved in fatigue. That is such a wide question. I don't know if it's your hormones, your diet, or what. So that is a very tricky question to answer without knowing a little bit more. Where am I? Crap, so many questions. Where am I? Your thoughts on microneedling? 10.com, I have it in there. I do like microneedling, absolutely. I just find it enhances everything. People that didn't see results on most protocols, they had microneedling for hair loss and for skin. Absolutely, I think everyone should use it. Your skin looks good. What's your skin care routine? My skin is honestly, for past while, it's the worst it's ever been. And that's because I'm eating crap. I'm eating high sugar and this and that. So my skincare routine, when I actually am focusing on it, a few things are needed for proper skin. One, you need fats is so important. Bodybuilders eat so low fats, it's disgusting. Your epidermis alone is 60% PFA fats. Eating a good, adequate fats make your skin look amazing and smooth. Adequate fats, lots of fats. Go to chronometer.com, ensure all your nutrients. Calcium is so important for skin. Calcium, your fats, proper sleep, very important. People who have a lack of sleep, which my sleep has been lacking lately due to me living a poor lifestyle. Lack of sleep will cause loss of hydration in your skin, and that ages you. That is so horrible for your skin. Never touching hot water to your face. I don't care if you're splashing it, which I've been splashing it recently because I like to. Within a few days of the shower, hot water here, sure, whatever, who cares. Cold water only touches your face. No hot water even for a second. Within a couple of days of just cold water on your face, your skin will look 10 times better. Your pores will shrink to nothing. It'll look smooth. Proper diet, lots of fats, good calcium. Sugar, I don't care, like anybody, when I've told them to lower their sugar, their skin looks amazing. You can have a little bit of fruit. You need fructose. Fruit isn't so much of an issue. There's mostly the high fructose corn syrup. If you're even having like 1 can of pop or something stupid a day, or a snack, I don't care what it is, but 20 grams even of processed sugar anywhere will ruin your skin. It causes water loss from your skin. That makes you look aging, fine lines, this and that. Keep sugar as limited as possible, just fruits, a natural healthy amount of fruits, a lot of fats, proper sleep, and proper electrolytes. Because if you overdrink water, you're going to flush your electrolytes, and you're going to actually dehydrate yourself and make your skin look more aged. Those are the main few things for sleep. I'm going to change my lifestyle soon, less work stress, and just do those proper things, and my skin is going to look 100 times better, more glowing, more fuller, and more hydrated. Like, my skin looks drastically different. I have a few pictures. People post it when I was going through my hair loss phase, and posting it, people noticed my skin one day looked completely horrible at the beginning, looked amazing in the end. Also, some emu oil on your face increases skin DNA synthesis, insanely important. You can supplement some of these. Diet is better, but MSM, the sulfur, is so important for skin. It makes your skin look amazing. But yeah. Do you know what's the cheapest red light machine I could use it for? No, there's a good thread I found somewhere on I forget even remember what forum, but people posted a good setup. I can't even remember it. I was gonna get it for myself. I can't remember it at the time. I have it saved somewhere. Where am I going? What am I doing? Your thought regarding androgen receptor downregulation. Go to my website 10.com. You'll see I have an article. Short versus long cycle androgen receptor downregulation. As far as I know, so I've been suggesting this for like almost a decade, the androgen receptor downregulation. I don't think you can find a single place online anywhere of anybody mentioning this with the actual studies that I found for androgen receptor downregulation. I think I'm probably the first person that has really brought this to light. Now people are posting studies everywhere, but I don't think you'll find these studies posted anywhere besides from when I posted them first. So it's proven it happens. There's multiple different long ester steroids where it's proven to happen. You know, this is the reason why we see studies, whether it's long or short esters, that 90% of the gains were within the first 6 weeks. Like I said, there's multiple studies on it where they showed that the androgen receptors are turned back down to baseline, and the only benefit you're getting is an anti-catabolic effect. This is why for over a decade now, all my followers have only ran 4 to 6 week cycles. But they add the article up in ways to increase your androgen receptor content, such as carnitine and T3 and stuff like that, and it makes people feel on a TRT dose like they're running a mega cycle. Hold on, guys, let me go to the washroom. This will be a minute. Holy crap, it's 3:30. I'm probably gonna end this, guys. Really freaking late. I'm getting pretty tired. Messing up my sleep schedule. Giant light bulb full of rocks. It'll work anyways. Yeah, guys, I should probably end this. Not deep subliminally. Yeah, I'm gonna end this, guys. Yeah, 2 hours on, over 2 hours. All right, thanks everyone for watching. Yeah, I always say this, but I am going to try and live stream tomorrow, in the daytime probably. Thanks for the good vibes. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate everybody watching and the subs and stuff. Share my content. I don't know, maybe not share my lives too much for people to follow, maybe share them, but my videos too, like if it's your macro ones or something like that, if you guys want to, you know, share it, that definitely helps me. More data, you know, whether it's Reddit or forums, I don't even know what people use anymore these days, or Facebook groups or something like that. It definitely, when you share it, it definitely helps me a lot. It gets me, you know, subs and views out there, so I always appreciate that, appreciate it a lot. So everybody who does share, yeah, definitely appreciate it. Appreciate you guys watching, asking questions. Yeah, so hopefully get in tomorrow, and I'm gonna get back to this more frequently. Now I'm feeling better, so yeah. All right, guys, thanks again. 3 a.m. time to sleep. All right, night, guys.